What happens to the quantity demanded for Big Macs when the price of Whoppers decreases from $3.75 to $3.25? Obviously, the answer depends upon what happens to all the other variables that affect quantity demanded. To isolate the effect of the decrease in the price of Whoppers, let's assume that all other variables remain constant, including the price of Big Macs. Logic shows that the consumers would substitute Whoppers for Big Macs, and the quantity demanded of Big Macs would therefore decrease. Suppose, for example, that the price of Big Macs is $3 and the quantity demanded is $1,000 when the price of Whoppers is $3.75. Some people are willing to pay 75 cents more for Whopper, but not $1.25. Therefore, the quantity demanded of Big Macs would be lower than $1,000 when the price of Whoppers is $3.25. Suppose the new quantity is $900. The decrease in the price of Whoppers would reduce the quantity demanded regardless of the price of Big Macs. Suppose, for example, that this table shows the demand schedule for Big Macs when the price of Whoppers is $3.75. The quantities would be lower than 1,100, 1,000, and 800 when the price of Whoppers is $3.25. The demand schedules for Big Macs when the price of Whoppers is $3.25 would look something like this. When we plot the two demand schedules, we see that the demand curve when the price of Whoppers is $3.25 lies to the left of the demand curve when the price of Whoppers is $3.75. When the price of Whoppers decreases from $3.75 to $3.25, points A, B, and C move to the left. This example illustrates a key idea of this lesson. When a change in something other than the price of the good makes the quantity demanded decrease, the demand curve shifts to the left. We call this leftward shift a decrease in demand. The opposite is also true. When a change in something other than the price of the good makes the quantity demanded increase, the demand curve shifts to the right. We call this rightward shift an increase in demand. To tell whether the demand increases, decreases, or remains constant, answer this question. If the price of the good is constant, would consumers want to buy more, less, or the same amount as before? If the answer is more, then the demand curve shifts to the right. If the answer is less, then the demand curve shifts to the left. If the answer is the same amount, then the demand curve does not change. Here are changes that tend to make the demand for a product increase. The price of a substitute increases. The price of a complement decreases. Consumer incomes increase and the good is normal. A good is normal if demand increases when incomes increase. Most goods are normal. Consumer incomes decrease and the good is inferior. A good is inferior if demand decreases when incomes increase. Consumer preferences for the good intensify. Consumers expect the price of the good to rise. The number of consumers increases. Here are changes that tend to make the demand for a product decrease. The price of a substitute decreases. The price of a complement increases. Consumer incomes decrease and the good is normal. Consumer incomes increase and the good is inferior. Consumer preferences for the good weaken. Consumers expect the price of the good to fall in the future. The number of consumers decreases. Now let's consider a few examples. When the Surgeon General releases a report that Big Macs contribute to heart disease, the demand curve for Big Macs decreases. Holding the price of Big Macs constant, fewer people would want to buy Big Macs because the news reduces their preference for Big Macs. When the price of Coca-Cola at McDonald's decreases, the demand for Big Macs increases. Coca-Cola is a complement to Big Macs. When the price of Coca-Cola decreases and the price of Big Macs is constant, the total cost of purchasing a Big Mac and a drink decreases and more people buy Big Macs. When consumer incomes increase the demand for ramen noodles might decrease. I suspect that ramen noodles is an inferior good. People buy fewer ramen noodles and more other food when their incomes increase. When the price of Big Macs increases, the demand curve for Big Macs does not shift. If the price is constant, consumers would still buy the same amount. The increase in price moves consumers up and to the left on the demand curve, but does not shift the curve.